SVAN Alumni presents SVAN Inspirers Interview for NEET-PG 2021. Hosted by Dr. Abbas Ali, the bone teacher, orthosurgeon, author, exam strategist, and YouTuber. Featuring Syed Maqsood Hussain, All India Rank 284, Abdul Khader, All India Rank 634, Syed Taqi Ahmed, All India Rank 724, and Mohammad Faheem, All India Rank 1373.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh everyone. I am Dr. Abbas Ali, orthopedic surgeon and faculty. Today I have four amazing people with me. These are all great rankers. I just want to start by introducing who these people are. I have Dr. Maqsood, rank 284 All India, NEET-PG 2021. Dr. Khader, All India rank 634, NEET-PG 2021. Dr. Taqi, rank 724, 2021. And Dr. Faheem, 1373, 2021. Amazing. So all of you have cracked this exam in your first attempt?
Yes.
So these are the first attempt toppers who have cracked this exam in post-internship, right? You just finished your internship. So today we are here to understand what they did so that, all of you who are interested in getting these kind of ranks can just follow, because, this is a part of your life where there is a lot of noise, a lot of distraction. And if someone has achieved something, and if you just imitate what they have done, it might just work just for you. Now, it's not that I'm going to share one story with you. We have four different stories, all from different backgrounds. But one thing very common, the work they did, the consistent work, the slow and steady efforts that they have been putting in since day one of their medical life, which has accumulated to give them these amazing ranks. So let's start with Dr. Maqsood here. And I just want to ask you, what was your first year like?
First year was like I used to read the basic textbooks thoroughly with every day consistently, at least 2 to 3 hours. I have that target, and I used to watch the videos as well in the YouTube of Dr. Mujeeb, physiology, to get the basic idea.
So first year, day one, you started studying standard textbook?
Yeah, like not day one. It's third day.
From third day. Right, so third day, MBBS third day से standard book Grey's Anatomy उठाया क्या?
No sir, Chaurasiya, BD Chaurasiya.
So you started with BD Chaurasiya.
Yes.
On third day of your MBBS.
Yes.
Like no ragging, nothing.
No, it was like that.
You were focused. You wanted to. When did you know about this, PG entrance exam कि future में मेरे को आगे पढ़ना है, post graduation करना है? First year में तो idea नहीं था ना?
Second year में ये मुझे मालूम हुआ सर. मेरे mentor थे डॉक्टर ज़करिया. He used to be like आपको सिर्फ MBBS से ही नहीं होगा, PG भी करना जरूरी है लाइफ में आगे.
Right. पता तो सर second year से. पर first year में आप third day से कैसा पढ़ते लोग?
Because मेरा ये था कि स्टेट रैंक मुझे 5034 है. So मेरा टारगेट था कि गवर्नमेंट सीट लाना जरूरी था. फाइनेंशियल भी थोड़ा वीक था, तो फिर
So your motivation was to compensate for what you thought was a deficiency in getting into medicine, right? So that's a big motivator, strong motivator. So third day you started with standard textbooks like BD Chaurasiya and physio के लिए
LPR and for biochem Vasudevan.
So you would follow the classes and read the standard textbook, or would you start reading on your own?
Initially I used to follow the class, and then I used to read, but later I realized I have to read some before the class only, so get more proper understanding of the subject.
Okay. What about you, sir? What was your first year like? Did you start on day 1, 0, 3?
My first year, actually, we were oriented to just studying for getting a distinction in first year. So, it was properly oriented in second year that we have to...
So let me just remind everyone that he got rank 634 All India. And he was a management seat?
Yeah.
He bought the seat?
Yes, sir.
MBBS seat was bought. So for a lot of people who think that top ranks are only for people who have got great ranks in MBBS, this is proof. This is evidence enough, right? He bought the seat. He wasn't a good student then. Doesn't necessarily mean he was not a good student. Just meant that he couldn't crack a competitive exam. What made you think that you could crack NEET-PG when you couldn't crack NEET-UG?
Actually, it was the motivation from second year onwards. I think Dr. Thamim Saif and the session which he conducted was really productive. I realized that by consistent efforts, we can get any goal that we desire.
Okay, what was your consistent effort in first year?
In first year, I said I actually studied just for getting a distinction in the final year exam.
Just for distinction? You studied just for distinction? Gold medal गलती से आ जाएगा नहीं?
No, sir.
मेरे को distinction ही चाहिए. So what were the books you read?
I read BD Chaurasiya, Satyanarayan and AK Jain in physiology.
Okay. So class को follow करते थे या textbook अपने आप से पहले ही पढ़ते थे?
After the class, I used to read something related to the textbook, but most of the topics we used to read just before the exams, like 2-3 months before the exam.
तो साल भर पढ़ाई हुई. He started on day 3. What about you?
बीच में रुकी. It's not like throughout the year I was studying with complete motivation, but first year was just for the exam. So 3-4 months before the exam, we used to pick up. Otherwise, it was.
But before that?
Chill. No, not that much.
Not that
we used
much.
to have monthly tests and all in our college. So that used to make us study each month.
So that is a very important thing, right? College kept you in structure. College gave you the monthly tests, so that you had to complete a certain amount of syllabus. Okay. What about you, sir?
इनिशियली थोड़ा मतलब कुछ समझ में नहीं आ रहा था 2-3 महीने तक MBBS में क्या हो रहा, क्या है, कैसा है. बट बाद में जब मंथली टेस्ट सडनली आ गए एक बार, तो अरे पढ़ना है मेरे को बोल के जब समझ में आया, जब इसे शुरू
माइलस्टोन्स मिले आपको, क्या करना है इतने टाइम में.
इतना सिलेबस रखते थे मंथली एग्जाम के लिए, बस ओवरनाइट पढ़ते थे. मंथली एग्जाम के लिए ओवरनाइट पढ़ते थे.
एटलीस्ट उस बहाने आपकी जो पढ़ाई है वो कंप्लीट हो जाती थी.
जब अभी क्वार्टरली, हाफ ईयरली कुछ भी ऐसा प्री फाइनल एग्जाम से पहले और कंप्लीट सिलेबस रखते थे, तो 1 महीना पहले प्रिपेयर हो जाते थे. बस लाइक कुछ भी गोल नहीं था, बस अच्छा लिखना है एग्जाम में. कंपटीशन
मेडिसिन में आ गए, अब इसको अच्छे से करना बोल के आपको. आपका क्या था?
मेरा भी ऐसे था. आई वाज नॉट हैविंग एनी स्पेसिफिक गोल, बट बस ये थॉट था कि डिस्टिंक्शन आना है एंड आई शुड टॉप इन क्लास, टॉप 3-4 में रहना है. बस वो कॉम्पिटिटिव माइंडसेट था.
ये आग कहाँ से आती कि डिस्टिंक्शन करना है
वो मेरे
हमको?
को इंटरमीडिएट से
क्यों? What was the thing that pushed you in intermediate to make you such a competitive person in MBBS?
I used to see people who get state rank second, third, then I thought why should not I get? So I used to read it from my intermediate. So when I came MBBS, I thought that I should get the top 2-3. So
आप लोगों में से गाइटन कौन पढ़ा?
I brought Guyton, but I didn't.
खरीदे पर पढ़े नहीं.
गनॉन खरीदा.
मैंने ब्लड फिजियोलॉजी थोड़ा सा पढ़ा था, फिर मुझसे नहीं होगा ये, फिर एलपीआर लगी इनफैक्ट.
Okay. मेरा आपसे क्वेश्चन यही है कि जब MBBS में रहते हैं ना अक्सर बच्चे, देयर एम इज टू हैव फन, देयर एम इज टू एंजॉय द कॉलेज लाइफ. आप लोग क्या करें? आप लोग क्या एंजॉय करें? आप लोग की कॉलेज लाइफ कैसी थी? फर्स्ट ईयर की बात करूँ मैं, आगे चल के तो बहुत चीज़ें बदलती हैं.
फर्स्ट ईयर में फेस्ट था, उसमें क्रिकेट वगैरह पार्टिसिपेट कर रहे थे बस. और ज़्यादा इंट्रोवर्ट नेचर था, थोड़ा ज़्यादा नहीं मिलते थे सर.
तो ज़्यादा एंटरटेनमेंट तो नहीं था फर्स्ट ईयर में, लेकिन थोड़ा पढ़ाई पे नहीं है ना. तो MBBS कैसा रहा था कि
क्या है, नया दिख रहा था सब.
Okay. ये PG के बारे में when did you find out that there is something called PG and you have to do post graduation to practice? ये आइडिया कब से आना शुरू हुआ आप लोगों को? आप बताइए.
मैं MCET में पहली बार एडमिट सीट नहीं मिली थी फर्स्ट एड में. तो जब 1 ईयर में लॉन्ग टर्म करा तो इधर हैदराबाद को आगे, तो जब मैं डिसाइड कर लिया कि 1 ईयर चलेगा ऑलरेडी, तो लोग बोल रहे थे कि NEET-PG और ज़्यादा टफ है. तो मैं सोचा अब जब तो टाइम गंवाना नहीं है तो शुरू से कर लेके वही 1 ईयर जो मैं यहाँ लूज करा तो उधर मैं
कवर अप
कर
लेंगे. सो आपको फर्स्ट ईयर में यू हैड एन आइडिया कि आफ्टर MBBS यू हैव टू डू पोस्ट ग्रेजुएशन एंड उसके लिए भी एक एंट्रेंस है, काफी टफ है. सो आई माइट एज वेल स्टार्ट वर्किंग इन द बिगिनिंग इटसेल्फ. व्हाट अबाउट यू?
फर्स्ट ईयर में मालूम था, बट उसके लिए ज्यादा मेहनत कुछ भी नहीं. आइडिया था बस के NEET-PG एग्जाम रहता.
You said you had an older brother who would guide you.
Yeah, my brother Syed Ahmed, he is MS ortho pediatrician.
उन्होंने आपको कब से पढ़ने के लिए बोले थे?
फर्स्ट ईयर से बोलते थे, बट इग्नोर करते थे. मतलब फर्स्ट ईयर में कौन पढ़ता है भाई बोले से दिखता था. बस सेकंड ईयर से थोड़ा थोड़ा पढ़ना चाहिए.
तो आपको कोई सीनियर थे, भैया थे? What about you?
As I said, I attended a session for PG orientation by Dr. Thamim. So in that, we got orientation of all the exams, AIMS, PGI, JIPMA, Central Institutes, and also he conducted a class on CVS, and that was really interesting. Like the way we read for exams is different from what sir teaches. It will be really conceptual, and you'll feel like you are like in some clinical place. You are reading ECGs and solving.
So second year में you got an idea कि there is something called post graduation and you should pursue that.
Yeah.
Okay. Now my question to you is, अभी आप लोग whatever you have done so far in life, forget about that. Okay, forget about that. My question to you is, tell me, what would you tell yourself as a first year student? अभी आप पूरा 5 साल गुजार लिए ना, you have lived your MBBS career life, you have cracked PG. Now if you could go back and tell yourself कि मकसूद फर्स्ट ईयर में ये कर लो, what would that be? आप बोलो.
फर्स्ट ईयर में एंजॉय भी करो और
अपने आप को बोलो, मेरे को मत बोलो. मकसूद को क्या बोल रहा है? बोलो मकसूद.
फर्स्ट ईयर में एंजॉय करो यार, क्रिकेट खेलो, फुटबॉल खेलो, बास्केटबॉल खेलो, और साथ में पढ़ाई को भी मेंटेन करते रहो, एटलीस्ट कंसिस्टेंसी से 2 to 3 आवर्स.
2 to
And
3
then,
hours daily.
Spend time with the family also, that which I regret. Like I was very much tense about these MBBS exams in the first year because I didn't have that much orientation about the subjects.
So you think you over prepared in first year,
Yes.
right? So over prepare करने की ज़रूरत नहीं है, right? ये बोलना चाह रहे हैं आप ना, फर्स्ट ईयर में ओवर प्रिपेयर करने की ज़रूरत नहीं है,
Yes.
चिल करो, पढ़ो, 2-3 घंटे बस डेली कंसिस्टेंटली काम करो, राइट? आप क्या बोलेंगे? सेम बोलेंगे, कुछ ऐड करेंगे उसमें?
Almost the same thing.
Almost the same. If it's the same, you don't have to add anything. If it's something that you want to add, please go ahead. कुछ एक्स्ट्रा बोलेंगे अपने आप को फर्स्ट ईयर में?
मैं तो कुछ बोलना है, तो जो मैं फॉलो करा बस वही करना चाह रहा हूँ,
फिर चांस मिला तो वही करना है.
हाँ सर, तो जो करे मैं सेटिस्फाइड हूँ कि अच्छा करे, मतलब एंजॉय भी करे, पढ़े भी तो अच्छा स्कोर भी लाए.
तो what he said summarizes it very well. फर्स्ट ईयर में आए, सुकून से रहो, 2-3 घंटे डेली पढ़ो, कंसिस्टेंटली पढ़ो, आप एग्जाम्स में भी कामयाब होते हैं और पोस्ट ग्रेजुएट में यू विल आल्सो क्रैक. नाउ सेकंड ईयर में आ जाओ. What was the one common book all of you read in second year?
Robbins.
That's it. I think that summarizes your MBBS curriculum. Robbins is one complete book. It has everything from pathology, physiology, medicine, and it's just amazing because as a doctor, when you start practicing, everything comes back to pathology. And people underestimate pathology because they only think pathology is just pink and blue. It's not that. It's the disease process, the pathogenesis, and the receptors which cause the problem. And as a clinician, that is very relevant and important. You keep coming back to it. Many clinicians who are successful in their practice, they're very good in their pathology. They remember the pharmacology, the receptors, and which drug to use and which not to use. So I think all of you taking Robbins as your basic book for pathology and sticking to it till the last day of your exam, I think that is what has given you the boost. A lot of students struggle with pathology, and when they start struggling with pathology, they struggle with medicine, they struggle with surgery, they struggle with any kind of disease process, treatment, and all those things. So what was your relationship with the Robbins? When did you start Robbins?
Actually, like me and Faheem, we used to study together.
Both of you together?
Yeah, for theoretical exams. See, the thing is, we need to have one push when we are doing something different from others. All of the people used to read Hussain.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even buy the book. So our seniors told
So
us
how
to-
many of you in your batch were reading Robbins? कितने बच्चे थे क्लास में?
I think
Around 5-6.
5-6.
So of total कितने
Till the
थे?
last day.
150.
Of 150 people, only 6 people decided to stick with Robbins when everyone else was using Hussain.
Yes.
Right? It takes a lot of courage to do that, going against the tide.
Yes.
So आप दोनों क्या करते थे? Discuss करते थे?
Yeah, we used to study, and I remember that even like one day before the exam, I used to ask him, I used to call him, and we used to discuss some topics which were difficult because Robbins is it has its own language. If you get that language, it's really a very beautiful book, and it has its way of explaining the disease. And the thing is, I carried that book into the just before the exam hall also. Like, it used to be strange. Everyone is reading from books which have brighter pictures. Like, you can draw those histopathological pictures in exams. But Robbins doesn't have all that. But see, you have to focus.
No. Did you ever feel out of place?
Yeah, I felt many times.
Yeah. How would you overcome that?
It doesn't matter. You just look forward on your own way. Don't
What about you, sir? आप क्या करे थे?
मैं रॉबिन्स भी पढ़ा सर, उसके साथ लास्ट में हर्षमोहन पे आ गया थोड़ा, बस बिकॉज थोड़े सॉफ्ट टिश्यू
छोटे टॉपिक्स के लिए हर्षमोहन के लिए पढ़े.
छोटे टॉपिक्स के लिए बेसिकली हर्षमोहन पे आ गया.
When I started Robbins, I felt very overwhelming with the vastness of that subject. So I used to watch the pathoma videos, so that the concepts getting clear, and then I used to filter out the important ones from the Robbins.
Right.
And that at the end of the exam also, I was like, Robbins से exam दे सकते हैं, तो again हर्षमोहन पे भी मैंने आए थे थोड़े topics के लिए.
Pathoma बोलते Abdul Sattar ना?
Yeah, Abdul.
Right. So for people who don't know what pathoma is this concise version of pathology, specifically designed for people preparing for USMLE. What Dr. Abdul Sattar has done is he's taken the important facts and parts of Robbins and summarized it nicely, and a lot of people use it as a concoction of information that they need to revise before the exam. So what doctor has done here is, and I think none of you have done what he has done. In day one, in first year of MBBS, he has watched Dr. Mujeeb videos. And in second year, he has watched pathoma videos. So he always found ways to use internet to help him study. You guys were not so tech savvy, Syed.
पैथोमा यूज करे सर सेकंड.
Pathoma, भाई बताया आपको.
हां सर. और फार्मा के लिए
videos of
यूएसएमएल की कोई सर है.
USMLE के videos हैं.
नाम याद नहीं आ रहा।
नाम
Kaplan
क्या?
Pharmacology.
Kaplan. So you went beyond what your college was offering.
Exactly.
You went beyond what your classmates were doing, and I think that is what is necessary. Thinking out of the box. Problem क्या होता है when we get into a college, we think that everyone is the same. Everyone is essentially the same. It's just that what you do now will define what you are in the future. ये लोग भी बाकी 150 स्टूडेंट्स के जैसे ही सेम बुक्स उठा के सेम जो कॉलेज में पढ़ा रहे पढ़ सकते थे, बट दे वेंट ओवरबोर्ड. दे वर लाइक नहीं, सब ये कर रहे हैं, हमको ये नहीं करना है, हमको समथिंग डिफरेंट करना है, समथिंग दैट इज स्टैंडर्ड करना है. एंड दैट्स व्हाई दे गॉट समथिंग दैट इज डिफरेंट, समथिंग दैट इज स्टैंडर्ड. Not everyone got the ranks that they got, right? And this is not the ranks they got in the state. This is all India rank. So they were not even comparing themselves with the students in their college, in their city, in their state. They were comparing themselves with the students across the country. And I think that's admirable. It takes a lot of courage. Now, when did you start taking, start paying serious attention towards, specifically preparing for NEET-PG in terms of joining a coaching course or, purchasing an app or something? ये कब आया आपके दिमाग में, कब करना है बोल के? आप
मुझे इंटर्नशिप के स्टार्टिंग में ही आया था ये. सेकेंड ईयर थर्ड ईयर में बस हमने कोचिंग ज्वाइन की थी, उसके नोट्स
उसकी बात कर रहा हूँ मैं. आप कोचिंग कब ज्वाइन करें पूछ रहा हूँ.
कोचिंग थर्ड
ईयर में. आप
We both joined together in third year.
आप दोनों
फाइनल ईयर में,
आप दोनों फाइनल ईयर में, आप दोनों थर्ड ईयर में. सेकेंड ईयर में कोई ज्वाइन नहीं करा.
नहीं करा.
So will you want to join in second year now that you have seen how the whole preparation goes?
Stick to standard books in second year.
Why not second year?
क्योंकि सेकेंड ईयर में ऑलरेडी इतनी स्टैंडर्ड बुक्स है कि रॉबिन्स है और फार्मा अच्छे मतलब स्टैंडर्ड कॉन्सेप्ट जो बैकबोन ऑफ एमबीबीएस है वो सब्जेक्ट्स है, तो इसको फोकस मतलब कॉन्सेप्ट हासिल करना
So
important
focus on second year.
हाँ.
Focus on first year.
Exactly.
Chill, enjoy life.
Exactly.
पढ़ाई consistently करो. Coaching के पीछे जाओ मत, because things keep evolving. And I'll tell you this from experience. India, a lot of things change and nobody alerts you. Like 6 महीने पहले बोल देते क्या होने वाला है, right? Unlike USMLE or PLAB where they inform you about things that are eventually going to change many years in advance. यहाँ नहीं होता. So don't worry yourself too much about what's going to happen 3 or 4 years down the line. You can't predict it. No one can predict it, right? So आप first year, second year को live करो, enjoy करो, अच्छे पढ़ो, standard books consistently पढ़ो, and third year में जो join करे, would you want to continue joining in third year or would you think final year is a good time?
No, third year is better
the best
because
time.
What about you?
फाइनल ईयर इज द बेस्ट टाइम.
Final year is the best time. This is what we are divided here. Third year is final year 1 essentially. तो final year में join करना मतलब third year में भी join करना या final year में भी join करना, it totally depends on you. So what was the advantage you guys felt in joining in third year and disadvantage you guys felt in joining in final year? पहले इनसे पूछूंगा आपको advantage क्या लगा?
Sir, there are so many subjects, 19 subjects, and you can't cover it in final year and internship, especially because there was lockdown during internship for our case.
Okay.
So we completed most of the subjects. We both completed. I think these two people had to use some apps for the for videos.
Okay, let's equation में से quarantine और ये pandemic निकाल दो. Otherwise,
still I would prefer third year because
you had ample time.
Yeah.
थोड़े subjects third year में हो गए, फिर थोड़े subjects final year में. So it was a 2-year spread out course.
Yeah.
Yes.
It was a 2
Like
years.
19 subjects you cannot complete in 1 year. Like first year.
But you guys did it in 1 year.
13 सब्जेक्ट करे सर फाइनल ईयर में हमने.
हाँ.
तो कोविड की वजह से ऑफलाइन हो गया तो बाकी के 7 सब्जेक्ट्स हम
मैरो
ऑनलाइन प्लेटफॉर्म से
ऑनलाइन प्लेटफॉर्म. तो आई मीन रिलेटिवली आप लोग ज्यादा बिजी रहते थे होंगे फाइनल ईयर में,
एग्जैक्टली
बिकॉज फाइनल ईयर का भी सब्जेक्ट सिलेबस इनॉर्मस है और फिर साथ में कोचिंग भी कर रहे हैं,
एग्जैक्टली.
राइट? आप लोग रिलैक्स है. सो टोटली डिपेंड्स ऑन यू. इफ यू कैन बैलेंस थिंग्स इन फाइनल ईयर यू कैन जॉइन इन फाइनल ईयर, और इफ यू कांट, इफ यू आर अ पर्सन हु गेट्स स्ट्रेस्ड आउट और गेट ओवरवेल्म्ड टू मच, I think starting in third year is a decent time, right? You can start in third year, prepare notes. Now, my question is very specific in terms of these coaching classes. Now we have 2 options, right? Online option hai, offline face-to-face option hai. What is your take? What would you want to do?
ऑफलाइन
I would prefer offline class because you will have face-to-face interaction with a teacher, and you will have so many students around you that will motivate you to stay on.
What about you?
I think it depends on the person.
No. Person here is you.
For me, it is offline because the notes will be more concise and you can correlate what you learned. Those concepts, you'll remember them in class.
ऑफलाइन बिकॉज आई यूज्ड टू गेट डिस्ट्रैक्टेड विद द फोन सर.
ऑफलाइन
Right. So basically, what I have seen based on the student feedback. So these are not the only 4 people I've spoken to. Like I've spoken to thousands of students. So it's, if you are motivated, if you are self-disciplined, and if you can manage your own time aggressively well, then anything you're fine with offline and online.
Yeah.
Everything has their share of advantages. Like online has the advantage of pausing, rewinding, and watching, rewatching, and making sure that you've understood everything. But if you're not, if you're somebody who's just distracted a lot, who can't take care of the time, and who wants people to motivate him, or wants the influence of your friends to guide them further, then offline is the best way. And I personally, when I was preparing, we did not have online options. Offline was the way to go. It was a little tedious getting up early and then attending the class for long durations, but it would get the job done. 3 दिन में subject हो जाता था. There was nothing pending, nothing left, because it left to me, I would obsess about doing things perfectly, and वो एक point के पीछे लगा देंगे तो छोटे छोटे subject को भी ना ज़्यादा दिन लग जाते हैं. तो I think offline cuts that, it gives you कि fixed time में ये subject finish कर दो, जो भी है यही है, बस इससे लेके आपको चलना है.
And so the notes are also bulkier in online classes. So in classroom they teach less, but they'll be the more frequent.
Right. So this is a very, very important point here. Offline versus online में obviously they will teach you less because they are limited by time. They are bound by time. But when they are bound by time, obviously they're going to teach you more high yielding stuff, more important stuff rather than everything. Not to say that online they will not teach you important stuff. They will teach you, but they will try to teach you as much as possible, thereby giving you option of selecting what you need to remember and not. So थोड़ा सा prioritization में different हो जाता है उसमें. ठीक है, राइट. नाउ मेरे को ये आप लोग के ऑफलाइन क्लासेस का ना एक जनरल आइडिया दे दो, बिकॉज व्हाट हैपेंस, अ लॉट ऑफ स्टूडेंट्स कंपेयर व्हेन दे गो टू दीस क्लासेस, दीस लेक्चर्स आर लॉन्ग, राइट, एंड द इन्फॉर्मेशन दैट दे आर गिविंग आउट इज जस्ट बियॉन्ड देयर कैपेसिटी, सब सर पे से जाते रहता. सो व्हाट वुड यू डू, हाउ वुड यू प्रिपेयर योरसेल्फ टू गो टू दोस क्लासेस?
पहले तो हम समझे थे कि जब क्लासेस सुन लेते हैं, अगर समझ में आया तो ठीक है, कुछ भी नहीं समझ में आ रहा पहले तो नोट्स प्रिपेयर कर लेंगे, फिर बाद में जाए कॉन्सेप्ट क्लियर कर लेंगे. क्यों बोलते हो, अगर समझ में नहीं आ रहा और क्लास कुछ अगर नहीं गए तो फिर नोट्स प्रिपेयर नहीं होती. तो ऐसा कॉन्सेप्ट. सो
यू हैड टू ब्रेक दैट साइकिल. लोगों का जो दिमाग में रहता ना कि मैं समझ के जाऊंगा और बाकी समझूंगा, वो कभी होने वाला नहीं. वो अंडा पहले आए या मुर्गी पहले आए कि चक्कर हो जाता. ठीक है, इन्फॉर्मेशन आपके पास नहीं है, जो भी है क्लास में सीख के जाना है बस. आपका भी वही था.
सुबह उठ के जाते थे, फ्रेश रहता था, शाम तक फैटिग होने की वजह से कुछ भी नहीं समझ में, जो बोलते सर लिखो बस
जो बोले लिख लेना, समझ आओ नहीं आओ
बस लिखते जाओ बस खाली.
आपका?
Sir, I'll give an example. Our medicine classes were during Eid, and it was like some 10 days or something. Okay. So, and these people had to even go to their like respective places for doing Eid. So in that, sir used to teach concisely, but when he used to teach, there used to be like silence in the room. That shows that how awesome the things are. So if you get that feeling in classes, then stick to it.
What about you?
Yes, sir. Just follow the same timetable which.
नहीं, वो तो फॉलो कर रहे हैं. मेरा क्वेश्चन नहीं समझे आप. मैं ये पूछ रहा हूँ, क्लास को जाने से पहले आप तैयारी करके जाते थे?
नहीं सर, तैयारी तो
कुछ नहीं, जो भी है क्लास में सीखेंगे. और क्लास में कोई चीज समझने नहीं आती थी तो डिड यू बीट योरसेल्फ अप फॉर इट? A lot of people do that. They get depressed. They think the class में जो सब चीज बता रहे हैं बच्चों को आ रहा है समझने, मुझे नहीं आ रहा है. They start blaming themselves. They feel guilty about it.
Not necessarily. फ्रेंड से पूछ सकते हैं ना आप जाके, ये कुछ इनकम्प्लीट है कुछ, उसके साथ मेरे को ये नहीं समझ में आया, वी कैन यूज ऑनलाइन प्लेटफॉर्म also, किसी के पास लेके.
जैसा आप ईद की बात कर रहे थे, आई जस्ट वांटेड टू नो कि यू गाइस हैड ऑलरेडी योर लाइफ entangled in मेडिसिन, जो काफ़ी बिजी है, उसमें साथ में कोचिंग भी डाल दिया अब. हाउ वुड यू मैनेज फेस्टिविटीज़, घर के दावतां, शादियाँ, बर्थडेज, सेलिब्रेशंस, फंक्शंस, क्योंकि आपको मालूम ना दावतां तो रुकते नहीं, इंडिया है. आप कैसे करते हैं?
कोचिंग मतलब 6 मॉर्निंग 9 to 8 रहती थी, तो we will have a time to enjoy and go to the festivals as well. I used to enjoy also.
You would, Day 3 से पढ़ने वाला बच्चा शादियाँ भी अटेंड करा, दावतां भी अटेंड करा.
Like it was going hand in hand.
It was going hand in hand.
Studying also.
Okay.
मतलब दावत में भी क्या था, I used to have phone. Sometimes I used to read on the phone also to compromise. Like
इनकी शादी में जाके MCQs करते बैठे.
ओके, तो आप में से आपकी शादी एग्जाम से 2 महीने पहले हुई थी, तो आप अपनी शादी में मेहमान बन के गए थे
या शादी से बस 1-2 दिन पहले गया, बिकॉज मेरे को पढ़ना था. मैं बोल दिया था कि मेरे को बस पूरे अरेंजमेंट्स करके बुला, मैं शादी करके चले जाता हूँ बस. बट 20 days रहा मैं, वो दिनों में थोड़ा स्ट्रेस फील करता था, सब पढ़ रहे हैं मैं नहीं पढ़ रहा हूँ, बिकॉज आई यूज्ड टू हैंडल, बहुत मुश्किल होती थी मेरे को.
Do you regret that? Do you regret not participating in your own wedding because you were focused on the exam? Now that you have got a good rank?
No, I regret.
You regret it?
Yes, of course. Because शादी एक बार होती है.
Very important lesson, right? शादी एक बार होती है. Hopefully शादी एक ही बार होना चाहिए सबकी, और उसको आप thoroughly enjoy करना चाहिए. These things happen in life. आप एग्जाम एक बार नहीं 2 बार लिख सकते हैं, 3 बार लिख सकते हैं, but शादी तो hopefully एक ही बार होना चाहिए. Make the most of it. Or if not, if you're planning to get married, or if someone important in your family is getting married, you can plan for it, right? आपको मालूम है 1 महीना आपका खराब होने वाला है, तो prepare for it और advance में पढ़ाई कर लो.
ऐसे करता था सर.
My sister's wedding happened like 1 month just before NEET-PG exam, and there was the scare of COVID also, second wave at that time. But alhamdulillah, none of us got affected. But that thing still, as you said, will be there. The whole house is changing. Like there are lights on your house, and you are sitting and studying. You will get that feel, but it's okay. Because like Thamim sir had one dialogue that never in your life will you ever work so hard for any other exam. So just do it. If you get into your institute of choice, dream of choice, finish. Now your life is like on a path. You have a direction in your life.
A lot of people make fun of this. Like there is a popular saying, ना joke चलता है, running joke की 10th पास कर ले बेटा लाइफ सेट हो जाएगी, इंटर पास कर ले बेटा लाइफ सेट हो जाएगी, मेडिसिन पास कर ले लाइफ सेट हो जाएगी, पीजी में ले ले लाइफ सेट हो जाएगी. जो बोलते हैं ना, तो एक्चुअली अब हमको लगता है कि इट्स नॉट ट्रू, बट इन रियलिटी इट इज ट्रू. बिकॉज ट्रस्ट मी, every exam you write after this exam is going to be easier, because not a lot of people reach there. Now consider this, when you are preparing for NEET UG, right, how many people attempted that exam? 15-16 lakh students, right? How many people attempt NEET-PG? It's 1.5 1.6 lakhs, right? You might argue that ki competition kam hua hoga par seats bhi kam hai. I agree. What I'm trying to say is, this is the toughest exam that you are going to write as of right now. 20 years down the line, who knows? But as of right now, this is the toughest exam you write. Every exam after this will be relatively easy. So you really need to put in the effort here, right? Now, what was that feeling? Right, घर में सब celebration चल रहे हैं, सब party के लिए तैयार हो रहे हैं, आप कोने में बैठ के पढ़ाई कर रहे हैं. How would you overcome that? And because this is important, a lot of people go through this, and this is where they break. What kept you strong so that they can learn from you?
Sir, like I had a rule like throughout the study days that I'll do minimum of 6 hours daily regardless, and I used to start with 2 hours of MCQs. You always like to do MCQs, everyone likes to do MCQs, and then like 4 hours of study is also okay. If you have some celebration or some party at night, study in the morning, and the rest of the day you can enjoy. 6 hours with full concentration is more than
okay enough. So once you hit your 6 hours, did you continue further or did you stop?
No, usually it used to be less than 6.
What about you?
I used to do like a Pomodoro technique, which you advised in the YouTube. So 40 minutes पढ़े, फिर in थोड़ा 15
yeah, so total cumulative duration per day?
Minutes, 8 to 9 hours.
8 to 9 hours.
7 to 8 hours.
8 to 9.
So this is in internship while preparing for NEET-PG or throughout your MBBS curriculum?
No, internship.
Right. Okay. So let me wrap this up for all of you. ये लोग पढ़े, but majority of the work that they put in was in final year and internship. Now what I'm talking about here is discipline of giving certain amount of hours every day. So 6 hours is the benchmark for him. Now what happens is, if you have a good day, you can do more. If you have a bad day, you will do less. So this 6 hours is not constant. You have to decide yourself कि आप कितना दिन में कितने घंटे दे सकते हैं on a good day and कितने घंटे दे सकते हैं on a bad day. On an average, it should be 6 hours. So let me just recap the story here, because we've been talking for a very long time. We've talked only till third year. ये लोग coaching इन्होंने third year में join किया, and these two joined in final year. Now let me ask you, what were the books you read in third year?
Third year खुराना प्लस PS ऑथर के लिए सोच पड़े सर.
और SPM?
SPM के लिए विवेक जैन पार्क.
So you had an idea कि you need to pick up MCQ books.
Yeah.
Yes.
So what were the other MCQ books you picked up in second year?
Second year
Pharmacology
and pharmacology Garg is both.
First year?
First year.
So first year only standard textbook,
Yes,
no MCQ books. Second year patho and pharma.
Devesh,
for micro also
second year
Sparsh Gupta
for
was.
pathology, Devesh Mishra is also very good.
Ravish Mishra also is very good. And final year?
Final year notes.
How many of you read Harrison? Raise your hands.
No.
Nobody read Harrison. Nobody read Harrison. Okay.
I was having Harrison, but I didn't read.
That doesn't count. That doesn't count. Then everybody of us read Harrison. So the point I'm trying to make here is that none of you were very keen on reading Harrison. Why is that?
It's
Because
too
we don't
lengthy.
have time.
We don't have that much time.
Like आप जितना पढ़ते हो, अगर आप कुछ रिवाइज नहीं कर सकते हो, तो that is waste.
Waste
Like,
of time.
I think that is the important lesson here. You don't read stuff you can't revise, because either way it's pointless, because you're going to forget it eventually. Okay. So for final year, considering both of you, you had final year which has medicine, surgery, pedia, obs and gyne, ortho, and you had coaching.
Yeah.
How would you manage time?
फाइनल ईयर में मेनली फाइनल ईयर सब्जेक्ट्स के कोचिंग जाते थे, मेनली उस पर ज़्यादा फोकस करते थे. उसकी नोट्स के साथ स्टैंडर्ड टेक्स्ट बुक्स है एग्जाम्स के लिए 2 कोरिलेट करके पढ़ते थे. जो थर्ड ईयर के सेकंड ईयर के सब्जेक्ट के नोट्स बनाते थे, बट we didn't
उस पे
try.
फोकस
नहीं पढ़े हमने उसके लिए.
फोकस नहीं करते आप लोग तो
एग्जाम के लिए पढ़ते थे.
एग्जाम से पहले एग्जाम के लिए पढ़ते नहीं. अ लॉट ऑफ पीपल आस्क सर कोचिंग के लिए पढ़ाई करें तो हमारे प्रोफेशनल एग्जाम्स क्लियर होते हैं?
Yes,
होते हैं.
definitely. It won't be affected.
मिथे वो basically
It
कुछ
will definitely help. you
help
and
होता
make
है
it easy.
actually.
हेल्प होता बट टू राइट द एसे आंसर्स will it help or do you have to still
अगर
go?
कॉन्सेप्ट समझ में आ गया तो इट्स
You can
depends on
make
us.
up,
हम लिख सकते हैं.
कितना लिख सकते हैं अपने हाथ.
Okay, now I'll ask you an honest question. A lot of people think just joining the coaching and not reading standard books, will it help?
No.
No.
It may help, sir. It depends.
Depends.
On the person. How
Depends
they
on the
study.
person.
Yeah.
So if you just look at the coaching notes, does it give you enough information to fill in the blanks?
Yes, more definitely.
You have. So where do you get that information to fill in the blanks?
Sir, it's definitely all of the relevant information that's needed.
So
for us is
suppose
present in notes.
you don't read Chaurasia, you
Yeah.
don't read Gaitan, you don't read biochemistry की standard book, you don't read Robbins, you just have coaching notes. हो सकता?
Theory कैसे लिख
Robbins
सकते हैं?
read that one book. Other than that,
point है यहाँ पे Robbins अगर आप पढ़ लोगे तो you can fill in a lot of blanks.
Yeah.
Okay, can you read say an MCQ book for ophthalmology without Khurana and you'll still get good marks?
yes, definitely.
For ENT
छोटा
and
subject है तो
Short subjects के लिए
So for opthal ENT you can SPM.
SPM no park पढ़ना
जरूरी
पड़ेगा.
है.
Park पढ़ना. So what are these indispensable books or indispensable subjects that you would recommend students to focus on in MBBS from first year to final year? Indispensable मतलब ये books नहीं पढ़े और ये subjects अच्छा नहीं पढ़े तो आपको problem होने वाला है क्रैक करने.
And for anatomy, BD Chaurasia.
पढ़ना ही पढ़ना है बोल
पढ़ना
रहे
ही
हैं?
पढ़ना है.
Okay.
That is must. And for biochem, Satyanarayana or Vasudevan textbook, like first year you have to read the textbooks.
First year तीनों textbook पढ़ो बोल रहे हैं आप. Okay. Second year?
Second year Robbins.
Robbins.
And for pharma you can follow guidebooks also.
Okay.
And in third year Park is must. And for final year your textbook is must. Like,
All textbooks?
for medicine and surgery it is must. For the short subjects you
Notes
can
can
go for the
notes चलता है. तो from him he's telling medicine and surgery, SPM, pathology and first year all three subjects.
subjects.
Do you agree? Do you want to add anything here?
No, nothing.
What about you?
Ops Gynec
For
we
ops.
should read textbooks sir,
Yeah.
because we don't have exposure of Ops Gynec, so we should read the textbook.
Right.
You can understand.
So indispensable subjects are anat, physio, biochem, which means that you cannot do without reading the textbook. So just don't rely on the notes that you make in the classes. Second year में Robbins is priceless. सब subjects के लिए काम आने वाली है. Third year में Park.
Yes sir.
Nothing else. And final year medicine, surgery, obs and gyne from standard textbook. Notes will add information to help you. Right? ये है ना? Okay. Now मेरे को ये बताइए, before starting the internship, all of you were ready with your notes of all 19 subjects.
Actually, because
14
we
subjects
joined
हुए थे
late,
सर हम लोग के.
13,
आपके
14.
13, 14 ready थे, आपके पूरे थे.
17 subjects.
Majority of the
16
syllabus was complete before starting internship. Okay. So as a person who's aspiring to crack NEET-PG just after or immediately after finishing internship, what is your advice in terms of completing the subjects? At least 15 तो होके रहना?
Minimum.
Minimum.
14 to 15.
14
So before starting your internship, you should be done with at least 14 to 15 of your MBBS subjects.
Major
Notes.
subjects तो होके रहना पहले.
Major subjects
Short
होके रहना.
subjects you can
Short
do
फिर भी
internship as
चलते
well.
होके रहना मतलब notes ready
Notes ready रहना.
notes ready रहना
handwritten.
मतलब class attend कर लेना,
Yes,
सुन
हाँ.
लेना, notes
लिख
डाल
लेना.
देना. So till now basically none of you have practiced a lot of MCQs. They have only done it in pharmacology, थोड़ा बहुत second year में थोड़ा ENT, थोड़ा ophthalmology. So वो touch and go, nothing consistent, nothing substantial. So till now they were just busy preparing notes and harvesting information, accumulating, consolidating, जमा कर रहे थे बस, खजाना बना रहे थे knowledge का. अभी तक अप्लाई नहीं करें. Okay. So when did you start giving tests? Or when did you start looking at the information from a questions perspective, MCQ perspective? ये कब से start करें? Internship. So all of you started preparing questions or MCQs from internship.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So what did you use to practice MCQs?
All of us got
Marrow,
plan
plan
of
B.
Marrow.
Or MARROW का question bank standard है.
Gold standard.
Yeah.
Gold standard. There's no doubt about it. अच्छा है. Why would you think that? कि question के बाद explanation अच्छा रहता है, क्या रहता है?
Yes sir.
आप यूजर फ्रेंडली है पहली बात. फिर उसके बाद उसका कॉन्सेप्ट जो क्लियर इंफॉर्मेशन देता तो
It
बहुत
used
आसान
to
होता.
highlight the important words and the tables of the standard
Yeah.
textbooks.
Okay.
Very
Okay. So
और जो क्वेश्चंस जो मैरो के है मतलब टफ लेवल थर्ड लेवल के क्वेश्चंस भी
वो
थे
भी
तो
help
अगर वो भी अगर उसमें अपन जिम हो गए तो नीट पीजी विल बी वेरी इजी.
okay. So my question to you is, you were preparing information and harvesting knowledge all this time, right? When you started doing the questions, because a lot of students, especially undergraduates, fear that when they start doing the test, unki for lack of a better word, औकात दिखना शुरू हो जाएगी और उनको डर लगता है because they don't want to feel, to get that sense of reality that they are underprepared. So what would your advice be to them? Did this help you?
पहले नोट्स पढ़ लेना है. नोट्स पढ़ने के बाद ऑटोमेटिकली विल आंसर सम एटलीस्ट 60-70% तो आंसर कर सकते. तो देन विल गेट कॉन्फिडेंस, ओके नाउ वी आर एबल टू डू एमसीक्यूज. सो फिर जब फर्स्ट सेकंड थर्ड रिविजन्स होते हैं तो जब सेट रहता.
What I would advise is don't give the GT for the better score. Just give the GT for like where you are standing. बस इतना ही पता होना चाहिए कि आप किधर खड़े हैं, आपकी पोजीशन क्या है. बस उसके बाद आप फिर इम्प्रूव कर सकते हैं नेक्स्ट टाइम.
ठीक है, मैं जीटीज का पूछूंगा. मैं भी तो सिर्फ क्वेश्चंस का ही पूछ रहा था.
Okay.
क्वेश्चन बैंक्स, क्वेश्चंस प्रैक्टिस करने के लिए जो डर रहता वो नोट्स पढ़ के करने से चला जाता.
हाँ.
ठीक है. नाउ स्पेसिफिक, हाँ बोलिए.
Yeah, like if you have your notes ready, like it's not like if you haven't studied before you won't be able to score that much. Your notes are ready for like upper limit, we can say, of 6 months if you keep. And if you keep practicing MCQs and giving GTs, you can easily crack NEET-PG. You can get top 1000 rank.
Okay. So point is, have your notes ready. अब notes ready करने किसी को 1 साल लगता, किसी को 2 साल लगते, किसी को 3 साल लगते, वो आपके ऊपर है. But once the notes are ready, एक एवरेज में कितना टाइम लगता है, do you think? पढ़ के पूरा रिवाइज करके क्वेश्चंस प्रैक्टिस करने?
6 to 8 months.
Because there is a question here. Students have asked, how long does it take to prepare for NEET-PG?
9-10 months तो
9 to 10 months लग जाते हैं.
फर्स्ट रीडिंग के लिए मिनिमम 4-5 मंथ्स तो लगते हैं पूरे 90 सब्जेक्ट के बाद. रीडिंग खत्म होने के बाद रिवीजन फिर पहले 2 months, फिर 50 days, फिर 45 days.
Right. So let me just summarize what they have said. So by final year or beginning of the internship, अगर आपके पूरे 19 subjects के notes are completed, now you will still need another 9 to 10 months to go through that information.
4 to 5 cycles if you do, it's
4 to 5 cycles.
Yeah.
4 to 5 cycles. Now coming to specific questions the audience has asked before actually recording this session. How would you approach clinical questions and how to make your clinicals strong? Now this is important because I gather now based on what you are describing, आप third year में निकल गए, आप final year में चले गए पढ़ने के लिए. तो when would you find time to attend postings and how relevant and important are postings for the present scenario of exams?
जब पोस्टिंग अटेंड करते हैं तो जो भी केसेस है तो केसेस जब देख लेंगे, फिर बाद में आने के बाद किताब पढ़ने के बाद उसको टैली करके वी कैन बिकम स्ट्रांग फ्रॉम सेकंड ईयर. बेसिकली व्हाट आई थिंक इज second year is basic for clinicals, patho, pharma, micro. If you are strong in that, your final year will become easy. When final year becomes easy, it will be easy for us to solve clinical questions.
What about you?
Basically clinical questions are easier than one liners. उसमें ज़्यादा hints मिलते हैं अपने को. जैसा तमीम सर बोलते थे, फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन को कैसा अप्रोच करना है, फर्स्ट ऑप्शंस रीड करो, उसके बाद लास्ट लाइन रीड करो.
नहीं वो ठीक है, मैं वो नहीं पूछ रहा हूँ. मैं पूछ रहा हूँ कि clinical postings are they relevant or can you bunk all of it?
We have to attend compulsory. जब भी अपन को क्लिनिकल हिस्ट्री टेकिंग समझ में आया तो अपन सोच सकते हैं कि कौन सा मतलब
how
क्या
could
है
you manage
problem?
attending those postings with your preparation and busy schedule of final year?
If सब्जेक्ट के टीचर कोई स्ट्रिक्ट है तो नेसेसरी जाना पड़ेगा अटेंडेंस के लिए. तो जाते थे हम लोग.
No, looking at the exam and the question pattern, do you think whatever you learn in the posting is something that is
नहीं.
indispensable?
उतना तो
उतना नहीं है.
like जब सेकंड ईयर पोस्टिंग जाते थे मेडिसिन, वी यूज्ड टू वॉच द केसेस लाइक स्क्लेरोडर्मा जब पढ़ाते थे मैम, या हाइपरटेंशन या सीएडी. तो रिट्रोस्पेक्टिव आप स्टडी कर सकते हैं टेक्स्ट बुक से.
So what I gather is simply
like I have seen some cases in derma, like I attended those postings very regularly in final year and third year also. So molluscum contagiosum, warts, then acanthosis nigricans. I never got these basic things wrong. Some people they get confused between these basic things. So derma is like visual, na? So if you attend those postings, you'll never forget that.
yeah. So these are the things that you pick up in your postings, and then these cannot be taught in the books. However beautifully the author explains it, you can't pick it up. Seeing it yourself, touching it and feeling it, that is an indelible impression on your minds. So if at all you get an opportunity to attend postings, never miss out on it. And the exam pattern, as it eventually is going to change into next and whatnot, a lot of questions will be framed around your clinical things that you learn in clinical postings. The shifting dullness है, auscultate कैसा करते हैं, pulse कैसा लेते हैं, BP कैसा लेते हैं. These are the things you cannot pick up from the book. You can just read the instructions, but you will never be able to remember it for very long unless you go ahead and do it. And I'll tell you my example is, there was one case I saw of hypothyroidism, the clinical complaints that he was talking about, and the features that I could see, on him, or I still remember so vividly, right? So I can pick it up easily. There was one case of Raynaud's phenomenon I saw when I was in undergraduate, and then there was someone I saw with Raynaud's phenomenon recently in my practice. I could immediately see and say कि इसको Raynaud's है, इसको भिजाओ, इसको कुछ और कराना है. So these are the things that stick with you for a very, very long time. And what is the whole point of going to MBBS, a medical college, and doing MBBS if you want to just sit at home and study, right? आपको घर में ही बैठ के पढ़ना था, तो फिर कॉलेज क्यों ज्वाइन करें? कॉलेज गए क्योंकि पेशेंट्स आने वाले हैं, वहाँ पे पेशेंट्स को देखो. देयर इज अ लॉट ऑफ इन्फॉर्मेशन दैट यू कैन पिक अप बाय टॉकिंग टू पेशेंट. यू कैन लर्न एम्पैथी, यू कैन लर्न सिंपैथी, यू कैन अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट देयर प्रॉब्लम्स आर, एंड देयर आर सो मेनी थिंग्स यू कैन नॉट लर्न फ्रॉम दीज ऑथर्स. ओके, तो ये तो आप लोग भी बोल रहे हैं. नाउ आई डोंट वांट टू वेस्ट अ लॉट ऑफ टाइम हियर एंड कम टू द पॉइंट, क्योंकि पूरा मोस्ट इन्फॉर्मेशन जो क्वेश्चंस में था वो हमको मिल गया है आप लोगों से, कि कब स्टार्ट करना, कैसे पढ़ना, नोट्स बनाना ज़रूरी है, राइट? अब मेरे को एक टिपिकल डे बोलो आपका, जब आपके नोट्स बन गए, कोचिंग हो गया, अब आप सिर्फ और सिर्फ नीट पीजी के लिए पढ़ रहे हैं, कि 9 मंथ्स दे दिए आप, ठीक है? तो फर्स्ट रीडिंग क्या रहती, रिवीजन क्या रहता, और कितने रिवीजन करते, आप क्या करें वो बोलो.
फर्स्ट रीडिंग में पहले मैं शेड्यूल बना लिया सर, कि फर्स्ट रीडिंग में कितने एक सब्जेक्ट को डिपेंडिंग ऑन हाउ बिग द सब्जेक्ट इज इतने डेज रख लिया था मैं. अब फॉर एग्जांपल मेडिसिन जब फर्स्ट टाइम पढ़ा था मैंने, तो 10 डेज पढ़ा था, तो 10 डेज के शेड्यूल में कौन से टॉपिक्स पढ़ना है अपन, तो उस दिन अगर फर्स्ट डे CNS है तो बस उस दिन का शेड्यूल पे कॉन्सेंट्रेट करता हूँ कि आज CNS करना है. ऐसा नहीं कि मेडिसिन 10 डेज में जल्दी हो जाना, ऐसा नहीं.
Okay.
कि जिस दिन का उस दिन अगर कॉन्सेंट्रेट करके शेड्यूल के हिसाब से अगर फॉलो हो गए, देन
तो मेडिसिन ऐसे स्टेप बाय स्टेप पूरे 19 सब्जेक्ट खत्म
हाँ.
करें, ये फर्स्ट रीडिंग हो गया.
हाँ.
उसके बाद रिवीजन.
हाँ, रिवीजन में अब फर्स्ट रीडिंग के बाद के थोड़े सब्जेक्ट्स अपन अच्छा पढ़ लेते हैं, थोड़े अब डर्मा है, रेडियो, उतना एक्सपोजर नहीं रहता, तो ये सब्जेक्ट्स को फर्स्ट रिवीजन में थोड़ा अच्छा फोकस करना रहता. अब जो पैथो, माइक्रो और फार्मा जो हम स्ट्रांग थे, तो रिवीजन में उसको थोड़ा टाइम कम करके ऐसा करते थे, और एज रिविजन्स होते रहते तो टाइम कम करके, सो दैट आखिरी में के लास्ट रिवीजन सीनियर्स बोलते थे कि लास्ट 15 डेज के अंदर 19 सब्जेक्ट्स रिवाइज करके जाना है, तो वैसे हम रिवीजन करके.
तो आपके कितने रिवीजन हुए थे?
मेरे 7 रिविजन्स हुए.
7 तो फर्स्ट रीडिंग हुई, उसके बाद 7 रिविजन्स हुए. Not necessarily taking 3 months each time, because as you keep on revising, the time will be reduced. Now, what about grant tests?
ग्रांड टेस्ट शुरू में जो प्लान मैरो में है, मतलब मंथली 2 ग्रांड टेस्ट है, वैसा कर ले सकते हैं, लेकिन एज टाइम एग्जाम के करीब होता तो वीकली वंस इज. आप
वीकली वंस करते थे, राइट? मैं आपसे और क्वेश्चंस पूछूंगा उसके बारे में. आपका कैसा था पढ़ाई, फर्स्ट रीडिंग और फिर रिविजन्स कितने?
फर्स्ट रीडिंग 3 to 4 months लगे. ऐसा नहीं कि मेरे को शेड्यूल फॉलो करना है, मेरा प्रॉपर शेड्यूल नहीं सेट होता था, बिकॉज कभी ज़्यादा हो जाता, कभी कम हो जाता. तो बट बेसिकली एक ड्यूरेशन रखता था, बस इतने दिन में हो जाना टारगेट, तो आई यूज्ड टू कंप्लीट. अगर नहीं हो रहा तो भी जल्दी खत्म करने की
जल्दी क्विकली कवर,
बिकॉज टाइम मैनेजमेंट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट.
टाइम मैनेजमेंट है. उसके बाद फिर रिविजन्स कितने करें?
रिविजन्स 8 to 9 करा, बिकॉज कोविड का टाइम अच्छा मिल गया था. बट
आपका?
Sir, I'll agree with him because I did not follow a rigid schedule. Even if I used to make schedule, it used to get delayed all the time. So the thing is, you should be relaxed and you should not be like.
नहीं, वो you should be छोड़ दो. आप क्या करें बोलो?
Yeah, I was like that only. I used to talk with him, and he used to console me कि कोई problem नहीं है.
शादी हो गई थी आपकी? जी. टाइम मिल रहा था इनको कंसोल करने का?
शादी से पहले की बात
है. Okay.
Yeah. So I think that helped a lot. You should focus on like studying. Like if suppose you are doing ortho for 2 days, you may not be able to complete entire thing. So leave the last
जो भी छूटा छोड़ दो, नेक्स्ट सब्जेक्ट को चले जाओ, टाइम में खत्म कर लो.
कितने रिवीजन हुए too much के
मिस हो गया.
वैसे कितने रिवीजन्स हुए थे?
7. I did
7. आपके?
8 to 9 sir.
8 to 9. So everybody had good 8 to 9 revisions. It's insane, right? Because we know, because
postponed हो गया. 2 मरतबा एग्जाम.
So lucky है.
Yeah, exactly.
So अगर एग्जाम पोस्टपोन नहीं होता था तो
3-4
revisions. Right. So the more revisions you do, the better it is. Everybody knows that. You just have to plan accordingly. If you can get in 10, 20, 30 revisions, or and this is one important recurring question that comes from students कि सर एक solid revision करना या 4-5 ठंडे रिविजन करना?
4-5
better than all of you agree?
एक सॉलिड कर लिए तो दिमाग माइंडसेट ऐसा रहता कि अरे ये में अच्छा करना है तो कुछ भी पॉइंट मिस नहीं कर, वो एंजाइटी में सही नहीं होता, तो चलो और कर सकते हैं तो एक
So there is no such thing as one solid revision. वो है ही नहीं. Revision means you have to review it again and again. So it's more of a numbers game rather than one solid quality of revision. It's not about quality. Trust me, it is about quantity. You might not trust me right now. It is about quantity because exam में जब आप बैठ के mark करते हैं, you try to recall the information ना, you will remember the page, exact location. वहाँ पे coffee का mark है, वहाँ पे कुछ कटा फटा page है, तो you will remember that. All these things only come when you increase the number of your revisions. It's not the quality, it's the quantity of revision. Now, grant tests. The first grant test, the very first grant test that you wrote, what was your score?
My score was, it was for the marks of
1200.
1200.
1200
So
marks.
first score was 550 around.
550. 12. You?
I don't
First
remember
grant
the
test.
score, but rank was like some 16,000. I gave it very casually. And
वो सब छोड़ दो. Marks कितने थे? याद नहीं है. 16,000 रैंक था आपका.
मेरे को 130 करेक्ट हुए थे सर कुछ
Out of 300 में से.
सर
आपके?
मैं मतलब कुछ भी प्रिपेयर नहीं हुआ, जब स्टार्ट नहीं करा तो फर्स्ट ग्रांड टेस्ट दिया था तो आई गॉट 385 आउट ऑफ 1200.
Okay, so that's not very bad, right? A lot of people when they start their grant test, the first grant test को time में खत्म ही नहीं कर सकते. And मेरे को भी, that was my first grant test when I wrote. I couldn't finish. I couldn't find the time to finish reading all 300 questions. People were finishing it and reviewing it.
Yeah.
And I was like, मेरे यहाँ 150 क्वेश्चन ही पढ़ने हुए, ये लोग कैसा फिनिश करके खत्म करते हो? So the time it took you to finish reading and the energy that was required to finish the first grant test compared to the last grant test that you wrote before the exam, can you just tell us the differences?
The first grand test, it was taking a lot of time. मतलब 3.5 घंटे तो हो जाते थे. अब जब फाइनल में आए जब अराउंड 3 घंटे.
Yeah. So
Half an hour was
what was the difference
difference.
that you sensed?
Like we are more adapt to the questions. We are getting less anxiety, less stress compared to the first.
So what
test.
he's talking about is something known as examiner empathy. You know, he could understand and predict what the examiner is going to ask. The moment the question starts with a patient comes to you with this pain and this has calcium इतना बढ़ा हुआ है, sodium इतना बढ़ा है, you start thinking कि ये question कहाँ से आ रहा है? ये nephrology का question है या ये orthopedics का question? You start predicting and you know sensing कि अब exam में question क्या आने वाला है. Because you know by now you have done so many grant tests, you know कि question कौन से topics है, कौन से subjects के हैं and इसमें options क्या रहेंगे और इसमें मेरे को trick क्या करने वाला है, isn't it? Right? आपके साथ भी ये था feeling first और last test में?
एक्चुअली मेरे को एक सीनियर बोले थे इतने ग्रांट टेस्ट दोगे फाइनल एग्जाम भी आपको ग्रांट टेस्ट लगे.
yes.
I like that.
तो मैं यही फॉलो कर रहा था बस. अब 40 to 50 ग्रांट टेस्ट दे दिए. शुरू में टाइम बचने हो रहा था, आखिर में इतना सिंपल हो गया था कि 3 आवर्स में कंप्लीट करके फिर पूरा हाफ एन आवर में पूरा रिव्यू कर सकते थे. क्या
Okay.
कर रहे हैं, कौन सा
आप
क्वेश्चन
3 आवर्स में खत्म करके रिव्यू भी कर सकते
हाफ
हैं.
एन आवर में एग्जैक्टली.
So
लास्ट में सर
क्वेश्चन पढ़ते पढ़ते आपको सेंस आ जाता था ना कि
Yes,
ये
sir.
क्वेश्चन किसका है,
Exactly.
कौन से सब्जेक्ट का है, कहाँ ले
Exactly.
जाएगा एग्जामिनर,
Exactly.
राइट? यू कुड वॉक इन द एग्जामिनर शूज एंड दैट विल ओनली हैपन इफ यू प्रैक्टिस क्वेश्चंस. दैट विल नेवर हैपन इफ यू जस्ट कीप रीडिंग द नोट्स. ओके, नाउ टेल मी, एक ग्रांट टेस्ट हो जाता ना, 300 क्वेश्चंस का था, अब तो 200 का हो गया. उसके बाद उसके जो आंसर्स रहते, उसका जो एक्सप्लेनेशन रहता, लॉट ऑफ स्टूडेंट्स है कि उनको बहुत ज़्यादा टाइम जाता उसमें. आप कैसा करते थे? पूरे क्वेश्चंस रिव्यू करते थे, ये क्या करते थे?
Yes, I used to review all the questions. I think reviewing is more important than like thinking about ranks, thinking about marks and all, because it varies. If you give the exam on different platforms, it will be a different score. Even my rank was considerably different from what I got in NEET as well as in INSET. So just focus on reviewing, and especially those people who got more than like 60% got it right and you got it wrong. Focus on that because there is something definitely wrong in that. Take a screenshot. Like I had a folder of the GTs which I gave in last 1 month, I think, of the mistakes which were like silly mistakes, and I reviewed them once in the last 10 days.
Okay.
So
What about you? क्वेश्चन याद है? क्वेश्चंस की जो रिव्यू रहती है, एक्सप्लेनेशंस रहता, डिड यू गो थ्रू एवरीथिंग और डिड यू जस्ट गो थ्रू द रॉन्ग वंस?
I did go through everything because आप immediately रिव्यू करना important है, बल्कि मैं उसी दिन रात में करता था, रिजल्ट आने के दिन रात
बट
में.
बहुत टाइम कंज्यूमिंग रहता ना,
इट्स ओके, लगा तो लगा बट बैठना पड़ता.
बैठना पड़ता.
जरूरी है.
Initially, I used to review everything, but later I realized focus on the incorrects more rather than
जो चीज
correct.
मालूम है उसको
मालूम
बार
है,
बार
Honestly,
क्यों
मैं
पढ़ना
मैं
है?
भी मैं तो आज तक कोई सा भी ग्रांड टेस्ट पूरा पेपर रिव्यू नहीं करा, ओनली इनकरेक्ट करता था. क्यों बोलता हूँ, अगर कुछ भी अगर मतलब लक से भी अगर लग गया तो मैं ये सोचता था कि वो कॉन्सेप्ट मतलब जो सोच के मैं लगाया तो नेक्स्ट टाइम भी अगर वो क्वेश्चन आता था तो वो इतना था.
That's a smart way of looking at it, because if you're tuned to thinking like that,
हाँ, तो-
you will be tuned to think like that in the exam also. So why unnecessary
हाँ, तो
explore
time
that? Because that can also backfire. क्या होता है कभी कभार when you are tuned to thinking of something that is correct in whichever wrong way that you are using, वो अगर चलता है तो चलने दो. Because when you start exploring that and you identify new things in that, you're likely to get confused and make a mistake again. क्योंकि जो चीज़ खराब नहीं है, there is no point in fixing something that is not broken. चल रहा है तो चलने दो.
हाँ, तो
Right.
बहुत कम टाइम तो ज्यादा सेव हो जाता था. वैसे 1 2 3 वैसा लग पे लगाते, दूसरे तो जो आता वो इस लगा.
The most important part of GT is also to analyze the weaker subjects. The MARROW में बहुत अच्छी एनालिसिस होती थी कि weaker subjects कौन से हैं. So टाइम टेबल मेरा चेंज होता था, weaker subjects को ऊपर लेके आता था. And daily 1 hour revision for the weaker subject, specifically in the morning.
Okay, so you can do this by 3rd or 4th revision. You will realize what your weak subjects are, and you will emphasize on revising them more than touching upon some things that is अच्छा. एक और चीज़ है, whenever you have your notes written, right? तो आपकी जब रिवाइज करने खोलते हैं, you always start from the first page. And because I have also done this, जब फर्स्ट पेज से खुलता everything is so easy because इतने बार पढ़े, by the time you would reach the end you would be like again जो problems end में थे अभी भी वही problems रहते. So did you ever do something like switching, कहाँ से पीछे से start करेंगे, सामने से start करेंगे?
I had 2 books in ortho. The thing as I said, I started from second book and then I used to read the first book.
This is something that I wanted to emphasize. You also did that?
नहीं, मैं शुरू से
मैं
ये सोचता कि एक अब क्लास में एक हिसाब से पढ़ाते ना, तो जो कॉन्सेप्ट पहले कवर करना है तो मैं जो जैसा पढ़ा वैसा
कंटिन्यूटी मेंटेन करते थे आप.
फर्स्ट रीड में तो शुरू से ही जैसे सेकंड रीड थर्ड रीड थोड़ा ऊपर नीचे पीछे.
So you have to stagger where you're going from because again it becomes number one monotonous हो जाता, और second thing you're just sharpening something that is already very sharp. So kind of mix and match and jump from here and there. Okay, so that was just wonderful. It was just wonderful talking to all of you. Brainstorming the great fine details of ये कैसा crack करना है. But on a personal note, I just want to end this, on a personal note and understand what kind of people you are. What kind of sports and social activities were you involved in MBBS? क्रिकेट खेलते थे? डेली खेलते थे?
हाँ, डेली नहीं. फेस्ट रहा तो प्रैक्टिस करने जाते थे, और नॉर्मल कभी तो जूनियर्स के साथ.
आप
क्रिकेट कबड्डी आप?
I'm not much into sports.
Video games?
No.
Not video games, no sports.
No.
So socialize नहीं करते. Family time. आप?
Only cricket sir, that too during the fest. And that's it.
तो क्रिकेट खेल लिए कॉलेज में. हॉस्टल्स में थे आप लोग? डे स्कॉलर्स थे? जिसको घर आना जाना. तो आई मीन बहुत लोग बोलते घर में डिस्ट्रैक्शन रहता, पढ़ाई नहीं होती, तो वैसा कुछ था?
एक्चुअली मैं रूम में था, मेरे साथ आप दोनों रहते थे. उन लोग ज़्यादा पढ़ते थे. कभी सेकंड ईयर में, मैं तो सेकंड ईयर में उतना इंटरेस्टेड नहीं था, फ़ोन में ज़्यादा टाइम स्पेंड करता था. उन लोगों को देख के मोटिवेट होकर मैं पढ़ना स्टार्ट कर. इन दी एंड एग्जाम से पहले हम आपको सीनियर बोले थे तुम लोग में से कौन अच्छा पढ़ते था. कॉम्पिटिटिव नेचर हम हमारे बीच में लाए थे, तो इसलिए कॉम्पिटिटिव नेचर पे फोकस करके अच्छा पढ़ो बोल के बस अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह.
आप क्या पोस्ट ग्रेजुएशन लेने वाले हैं अभी? जनरल मेडिसिन. आप?
जनरल मेडिसिन.
MD pediatrics.
Radio diagnosis.
So a radiologist, a physician, pediatrician and 2 physicians. Wonderful. I mean, last question, and we can end this session with that. 3 things that if you can change based on your rank. अभी जो आपका 1300 rank आया है, I know you don't have regrets because you got what you wanted, but if given an opportunity to improve on this, what are the 3 things that you would like to change during your preparation?
The days which I have not read, the time which I have wasted, meaning that I have got ample time. So if I get now, then I will utilize them. And also, as I started in final year, so it was quite tough for me. So I would recommend us to start in 3rd year, so that schedule will be.
So first was you would try to conserve the time you wasted, and try to start a little early. 3rd,
and
that's it. 2 ही है. What about you?
पहले तो टाइम वेस्ट करे कंजर्व करना है. सेकंड चीज़ जो है सोशल मीडिया ज़्यादा यूज़ करता था अननेसेसरी. बहुत चीज़ों में इन्वॉल्व हो जाता था बस में, तो इसलिए उसको कट करना चाहिए. और जो पोस्टपोनमेंट के बाद 2 महीने वेस्ट करा उसको नहीं करना चाहिए.
Okay, so आप postponement के बाद you got a bit relaxed.
Exactly.
And you wasted.
पोस्टपोन जब अप्रैल में पोस्टपोन हुआ ना, मई जून 2 महीने किताब नहीं टच करे, तो सीधा नीट
So
के
if you would have changed that, you would have been in a
2
better
months
position now. So conserving the time,
Exactly.
never thinking that you have enough time, and not a waste
Yeah, lot of
social media पर time.
sir.
आपको?
I think
You're satisfied with your rank. I don't want to change anything. I'm perfect. What about you?
Same, sir. Like
Same.
I'm satisfied.
You're satisfied. This is what you aimed for. This is what you
Yeah.
got. You're blessed. Right.
And
Alhamdulillah. It was so nice talking to all of you, and I'm sure that all of you will remain an inspiration to guide the juniors. And I thank all of you behind the scenes, cameraman, technical team, support, everyone to organize this session and grabbing me by the throat to come here and finally do this. It was so nice talking to all of you. I wish you guys all the best, and I hope and pray that you keep inspiring the juniors to succeed not only in NEET-PG but also aim for Central Institute exams. Thank you.
SVAN Alumni would like to humbly thank Dr. Abbas Ali for taking out time from his schedule to inspire and advise our SVAN community. We are very grateful to the Bone Teacher indeed. Congrats once again to Syed Maqsood Hussain, Abdul Khader, Syed Taqi Ahmed and Mohammad Faheem on their successes. May their future ahead be full of blessings. A special shout out to the SVAN organizing team for organizing this interview. We hope all of our SVAN community is inspired by this interview. Thank you all for watching. Check the links below for links to our Instagram page, our Discord, and for details on how to contact us. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you can see all of SVAN's updates.